Okay, so to wrap up this chapter, we're going to look at things called a color scheme. Um, basically, so another way to cheat your way through the color scheme is to find a photo or piece of artwork that you like and use the colors in it to create a color scheme. If the colors in the photograph or network are pleasing to your eye, then they stand a very good chance of working in another design or object. So use these 4 steps to pick the colors out of a digital image. So now we're going to use a software. It's actually a website called Pixlr, and this is what we're going to use instead of Photoshop and Illustrator. So we're going to use, and there's also a mapping piece to it as well. So we're going to use that since it's free. So these folks are using, I believe it's Photoshop. So we open up a photograph or artwork with colors that work well together within an image editor. So to do that, we go to pixlr.com and we go ahead and click Launch the Web App, and we are going to open up an image. So here's one right here that I have. So it's got a lot of colors on it. So one thing we have with most all of our photo editors is this thing called a color picker, and it's usually an eyedropper. So if you click on it, it allows you to come in here and then pick out a color. So if I wanted this nice red right here, I click on it, it basically puts the red right there. And if I click another color, maybe this blue I like, well, notice now I now have the black, and now I have the red, now I have the blue. Maybe I like this nice washed out yellow. Maybe I like this this color of this wood right here. So now I got all these colors. So now what I'm able to do is I'm able to then create another image. So let's say I just go ahead and create an image right here. And if I wanted, I could actually click on this color, and then I can actually draw that color on my page. And I can actually then get my red and use the red, and then I can use the blue. Okay, so I have utilization. Here's that brown. Okay, so I now have utilization of all those colors from that picture. And then I can go to the color wheel to see, hey, what contrasting colors basically complement each other, which ones go side by side, which ones are in the contrast wheel, so on and so forth. So again, and if I click on this guy right here, this actual color I'm using right now, I can actually then change. So here you notice I've got my gradient colors here. I can make it the darker brown. I can make it the lighter brown. I can also change the hue. Okay, I can slide that hue around the color wheel. I can also basically change the saturation as well. Okay, and then I can actually make it lighter or darker depending on. So again, think of this as the contrast, this is the saturation, and this is the hue. What color do we want to use? Okay. So that's now another way they have you do it is to take the picture and blur it and then find your colors that way. So that's another thing that we can do, is I can actually come back over here to this picture. There's a thing called Gaussian blur. I click on it and I can actually really make it super blurry. I can blur it all the way if I wanted to. I click OK, and then that will help me to see the colors that I might like. Now I can actually click on that Gaussian blur again and actually make it even more blurry. And then it's easier to pick out colors then. So there's some yellow, and there's a brown, and there's the red, and so on and so forth. So you can actually distinguish the colors more. Instead of looking at the picture, we can look at just the colors. And that's what they're trying to show right here, how they've Gaussian blurred this picture down, and then you go in and you pick the color that you like. And you can add again to your swatches, and that's basically what this is. These are color swatches over here. Now the bad thing is these colors are not they're not permanent. We have to use them in our current color scheme if we wanted to add them as far as pixel. Consistent colors, color is relative. How we perceive a color in depth depends on the context in which it's presented. Now again, remember in the previous chapter we talked about folks who are colorblind, so you have to be very, very careful of some of the color schemes that you choose as well, especially when you're trying to show something appealing like food. Colorblind folks will see, again, we saw the strawberries look black as opposed to looking red. Calibrating colors to help stabilize color shifting, calibrate or tune the monitor's colors on a regular basis. So again, what we're trying to say here is, hey, how it looks on your current screen might not how it really truly looks. So we can actually come out here to this nice little website and we can actually calibrate our display. And I believe it will actually bring up a, brightness. Let's see. I believe there's a picture. Yeah, you can actually click on. So when adjusting brightness, increase or decrease the brightness until you can distinguish the shirt from the suit in the picture. So mine looks pretty well black. So my brightness probably needs to be changed a little bit there. And we can do contrast. We can do color. So again, a great site to go to. I've seen this a lot of times on big screen TVs. When you buy it, there's actually a video or DVD you can buy and allows you to adjust your color and your brightness and your contrast perfectly so that everything is basically great when you go to watch a movie on this brand new TV. So this is kind of doing the same thing. Allows you to calibrate your monitor to make sure that you have it set so the proper colors and contrast and brightness and all that basically are viewable. Because again, how it looks on your screen and then how it looks to everyone else can be two different things. The very last part of the chapter here is kind of this might be one of the pages you might want to put a little post-it note sticky, because you might want to come back to this time and time again. But it's got a whole list of colors. Now again, it's not all of the colors, but it's a good portion of colors. And it's going to show the RGB and the HSL and the hexadecimal colors. And again, we can also see the shortcuts as well. So again, 00FFFF is also 0FF. 000 is actually black. FFF is white. Yeah, so kind of a nice table to kind of have that you can kind of come back to whenever you need to. So it says in conclusion, we covered a lot in this chapter because color is a key step in creating a visually pleasing website. From the conservative blue tones to the financial website to the warm colors of a sports site, colors relate to emotions. Color reaches every aspect of the web design, from the foreground to the background, from the text to the images. It can turn passive users into active users. Now that you've worked through basic colors and the theory and the building a color scheme, you can now confidently create custom color schemes for your projects. So to kind of I've really seen some really terrible websites where I've got light background and they've used like yellow text, and it's really, really hard to see. It's very important that you have contrasting colors, especially when using text, because if you have a light colored text on a light colored background, hard to read. You need those contrasting colors. If you're going to use light color for text, you got to have a darker background, and vice versa. Complementing colors work well. Okay, so again, you can look these up on the color wheel. Now another nice thing is you can actually look at this color, and if you, again, looking at the 0 to 360, what is the opposite side of the color wheel, you can actually use that mathematical website as well to find that sort of thing. So enjoy. Basically, you're going to basically modifying your website again to basically pick a color scheme and basically go from there. So we'll see you next chapter.